Right, here we go. What we got here? This is one of my old Warhammer cases, the Angels of Death. What do you reckon? Dark Angels? Oh yeah, here we go. This is my old Dark Angels army from the mid-90s. That's when I painted these. Look at these. Dreadnoughts. And yeah, look at that. Look, proper old school metal Terminator. Just awesome. So I'm looking in here for some inspiration for figures for the old world of London town, some characters that we can add to our game, to our story. But I mean, can I use Warhammer 40k figures? Could I put a Space Marine into the old world of London town? Yeah, I mean, can we? Can we use Warhammer 40k figures in the old world of London town? I don't know, they just don't fit, do they? That's for their own game. That's for their own thing. We need our own figures, our own characters. That's what we need. I'll tell you what. Why don't we just make our own? Hey, welcome back everybody to another Dave Blade Craft Stuff. And here we are again, we're back in the old world of London town. And this time around we're making our own characters for the game, or for the story. So today we're going to be making the Vine Mutants, which is a biological mutated weapon that the Baron uses for his world domination. So what we're doing here is, in the background you can see we're just making some skeletons, some silhouettes of various mutants that we want to create. So what I've been doing is mainly using the hot melt because it's just nice, quick, easy, and it doesn't matter if it's messy. So there we go. So just using lots of cocktail sticks, some garden wire there to create some tentacles, some vine looking things to go on these Vine Mutants. And yeah, I think I also use, well, basically anything, sort of little bits of plastic, sort of anything that goes really, that we can make a nice sturdy skeleton out of. So now on to the fun bit. Now we're using some Das clay, and it's an air drying clay. And it's quite soft as well, so I actually prefer working with this stuff. It's a little bit more pliable. I've been told it doesn't hold the detail that well, if obviously you're doing finer detail, but for doing this and for what I've used it for, it's plenty good. So yeah, what we're just doing is using various different tools, and all of this I've picked up from the range. And the Das clay I think was £2.50 or £3, and them tools were about £1 for the lot. So yeah, nice and cheap, that's what we're after. And then using the crappy grandad saw that does not cut anything, or certainly not the stuff I've used it for anyway, but it's brilliant at cutting clay. So that's what I'm just going to use it for. So as you can see here, we just all you do is just tear off little lumps of it really, and just mould it round into some sort of shape and form, you know, of whatever you're trying to create. So this was quite easy because you're just going for a mutated sort of plant looking thing really, and then just using the various tools, just smooth it all down, dab it into position, and yeah, just using them little dot dabbers there, you can create nice little sort of dimples and bits and pieces like that, just to give you some extra texture. So yeah, the black handled tool that I'm using here, I think that actually came out of a craft kit that my little daughter had. But it's really good because it's quite soft, so it's brilliant at sort of smoothing stuff down, but you've also got a nice point on it just to create some nice little lines and different texture on the actual clay itself. And the brilliant stuff about this is you haven't got to go and ask to borrow an oven, use your own oven, ever be in danger of ruining your mum's oven or your wife's oven, whatever you want to try and do with it. You just simply once you've finished, just leave it on the side and let it to dry. Normally within 24 hours, you've got a pretty rock solid base to work with. And also it's really good because you can sand it down a little bit if you've got some needle files or a pedicure file. You can smooth it, shape it. So kind of what I did with the wasp's claws, really. Just shaped it as best I could and then just used a pedicure file just to file it down and smooth it off. So, yeah, here we go. We're moving forward a little bit. So everything's all nice and dry. It's given 24, 48 hours to dry. And then what I wanted to do is use some garden wire, some different thicknesses of garden wire, just to create some more vine-looking texture around the Mutants itself. And I thought what I want to sort of do on sort of the point, or almost what you could call the head of these Vine Mutants, is just to, rather than have eyes and a mouth, just lots of sharp sort of thorns and spikes, you know, sort of as they sort of move through the undergrowth and through the city. It's their first line of attack. So all I was using to achieve this look was the pointy end bits of some very small or very thin cable ties. And then I also added sort of a few sort of small pointy ends of the cocktail sticks as well, just to sort of vary it up a little bit. And as you can see here, we've just got several strands of the thin garden wire. We've just twisted them together just to give it that twisted vine look, and then we're just applying that to the model again, just with a little bit of hot melt, because I kind of wanted that thing was where, you know, everything's all sort of mutated and slimy, and you know, that kind of look to the model. So yeah, using the hot melt, like we've just said, it just gives that quick bond. Because trying to use super glue on this clay, it kind of just absorbs it. That's all it does. So this hot melt gives you a nice little base. It never gets sort of drawn into the clay. And as you can see there in the background, we've just applied lots of sort of different size wires, twisted it together. We've created different ends, and then I just used the super glue just basically to bond the wires together, and just to give it a little bit more sort of rigidity. Rigidity. Yeah, I did say it right. So the next thing I wanted to add was these little plastic, almost, I think they're like cable tie things that you sort of clip into something. But the actual clip system looked like a sort of a barb kind of thing, like a big, like, vicious hook. So I thought these would look really good on the ends of the vines, like sort of almost like their arms kind of thing. So I kind of wanted to achieve that sort of scorpion from Mortal Kombat, that whole get over here. So it's like the Vine Mutant's arm sort of flies off into the distance, hooks the prey and then brings it back. So yeah, definitely quite vicious here. So we've got the barbed arms, you know, the head of the Vine Mutant's got these vicious thorns and spikes. So yeah, quite a mean piece of kit that the Baron has created here. So there we go, just using the leftover tips of these cocktail sticks, I thought would make really sort of vicious looking spikes on some of the heads of the mutants. Some of them have got the tips of the cable tie, and some of them have got these vicious cocktail stick ends. And once they're all painted up and they look sort of, I don't know, woody, sort of bony colour, you know, it's really going to set it off a little bit here. So now, taking some inspiration from the Venom and Carnage figures, or comic book characters, should we say? I'm used to figures because I've got a couple of the Marvel Legend figures. I kind of wanted these big, sort of just one spiked sort of vines just sort of coming off, more like sort of Carnage, I suppose. But as you can see there, a nice bit of thick garden wire there, just this vine coming over the shoulder. So you've got the barb of the arms flying into someone, and then you've got these vicious spikes that can come out as well. And yeah, so it's just a little bit of garden wire, sort of bent into shape. We've I was going to say super glued. We hot melted it on, and then just using another leftover cocktail stick tip, which was really good because it was the same thickness as the wire. Made for a brilliant looking, I don't know, sort of tentacle thing. And here we go, before we take them into the paint studio. The paint studio, I mean the garage of where I'm going to spray these in black. But yeah, just thought I'd give you a little sort of preview of what they look like in their basic state. And yeah, here we are. We are in the garage. So we've just given them a nice coat of, I think it was matte black spray again. Could have been gloss. I have no idea. But yeah, here we go. We're moving on. So I did use some of the old crappy green acrylic paint on these first. But the trouble was, is it went on nice and green, as you can see in the background. But it really dried so dark you couldn't really see it. So I went to where I store my paints, got out, you know, the decent paints, the Citadel, the Games Workshop, the Warhammer paints that I love to use. I've grown up with these paints all the way back since the mid-90s of painting with these, and yeah, I just always find them so good. They've got such a great coverage, and as you can see there, we're just applying the first layer of the dark brown to all the spikes, but as you can see, we've also layered up some of the green as well on there, and it's just now a point of just building up layers and layers of colour, and yeah, then that really starts pulling this model together. So as you can see there, we're now applying a lighter brown to the spikes. And the same with the green. So you start off with a dark green and then start building up with some, lighter greens as you start working through. Here we are. We've got to the stage where the greens are now applied, and I am now applying a green wash to this. So this is now seeping into all the nooks and crannies of the model, just to really give it some depth. So the paint I'm using here, this is a new Games Workshop paint. This is a Tesseract. It's called Tesseract something, but I can't remember the last name of it. And it's really a luminous sort of green colour. Works best if you spray the model white and then just lather this stuff on. But it sort of really highlighted the tips of the model. Sort of give it that sort of mutagen type sort of glow to it. And now what we're doing here is now we're going to start adding some effects, some sort of foliage, some flock first, and then we're going to sort of add some shrubs and then some leaves to it as well. So sort of really make it look as though it's a proper mutated plant, biological, that kind of feel to it. So we just used our bog standard cheap as chips PVA glue that you find in a kids section in the range, or B&M, and we've just put that on. And nice little trick again, if you're doing sort of little small areas of flock, is just to use the end of a cocktail. I was going to say no, it's wrong. It's not a cocktail stick. You wouldn't be able to put nothing on with a cocktail stick. It's a coffee stirrer, you idiot. So yeah, just using a coffee stirrer and then just flick the grass onto the bases. But anyway, enough of that nonsense. We're moving forward. These are brilliant. They're little, I think these are 1/48 scale, little tiny cut little leaves. So people have taken dried leaves and then cut them all into little leaf shapes. And I was going to buy a leaf cutter and do it myself, but this worked out so much cheaper. It was like 6 bags for I think £6. And there's loads, all different colours. So I thought I'd choose a nice sort of dark green, and then sort of a more sort of deady green, as you can see in the background there. And then what I was doing is just, again, using some PVA glue and the tweezers, as you can see there, just to apply these on, just so it's like, you know, they've come up through the ground, and, you know, they've got leaves on them and, you know, all sorts, or leaves growing out of them, so to speak. And but yeah, I found the best technique for applying these leaves is put your glue on and then just literally throw the leaves at it. Is probably the best thing to do there. So now we're on my favourite part. I love doing this bit. I love doing these on the buildings. Is these little sort of micro sort of shrubs or bushes, whatever you want to call it. They've got a little bit of self-adhesive to the back. Don't rely on that, like you've seen me do there. Put a little bit of super glue on and then just push these on, place them on, and then just push it into position with your tweezers. And they really do. They're the perfect size for this. So I wanted, again, as though something's growing out of this vine mutant. It's just not vines. It's got leaves. It's got, you know, bushes and all sorts of stuff growing out of it. So here we are, guys, just rolling into the final shots of the finished Vine Mutants. It was a really, really fun project, this one. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. And like I always say, I'll see you guys on the next one.